United States has just revealed a revolutionary new weapon that cost a jaw-dropping $1 trillion to develop. This massive investment marks the peak of advanced technology and strategic planning, aimed at giving the U.S. an unbeatable edge, especially against Russia. What kind of game-changing capabilities does this weapon offer? How will it reshape the balance of power, especially in the face of rivals like Russia? Join us as we uncover the details of the U.S.'s $1 trillion weapon and its implications for global power dynamics. On August 20, 2024, the world woke up to unexpected and dramatic news. Ukrainian forces had managed to trap approximately 3,000 Russian soldiers near the city of Kursk, deep within Russian territory. These troops found themselves stranded on the southern bank of the Sime River, a strategic waterway in Russia's Kursk Oblast. The Ukrainians had executed a daring plan to destroy the key bridges that connected this area to the rest of the Russian Federation, leaving the soldiers isolated and cut off from their supply lines. This bold maneuver was something no one could have predicted 2 years earlier, during the early stages of the conflict. This surprising turn of events resulted from a meticulously planned series of attacks conducted over several days by Ukraine's armed forces. Both the Ukrainian Army and Air Force launched a synchronized assault that targeted all 3 permanent bridges in the region, effectively severing the critical supply routes that the Russian military depended on to reinforce and resupply their trapped forces. The targeted bridges included the Kursk-Rylsk Highway Bridge, the Koronevo Railway Bridge, and a smaller bridge near the village of Tetkino, all of which had been vital for the movement of Russian troops, equipment, and supplies. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Russian engineers scrambled to deploy pontoon bridges across the river to restore connectivity. However, the Ukrainians had anticipated this move. In a display of tactical foresight, Ukrainian forces launched a multi-pronged counteroffensive. They deployed explosive-laden first-person view drones, a new and innovative military technology, to strike at convoys transporting the pontoon bridge sections. This tactic not only demonstrated Ukraine's growing proficiency in modern warfare, but also highlighted their ability to innovate under pressure. They launched a series of high-precision rocket strikes from multiple launch rocket systems at the pontoons and boats that had already made it into the river. By using a combination of drone reconnaissance and advanced targeting systems, they were able to effectively target the Russian engineers and their equipment, creating a chaotic scene on the water. The Russian forces, caught off guard and under relentless fire, struggled to maintain their position and construct temporary bridges. Ukraine has effectively crippled Russia's capacity to provide support to its isolated forces, placing immense pressure on the trapped Russian troops in the area. Reports suggest that up to 3,000 Russian soldiers have become stranded on the southern bank of the Sel River in Russia's Kursk Oblast, with no viable escape route. According to local sources, these troops are now demoralized and reluctant to continue fighting, a significant morale collapse that reflects the broader challenges faced by the Russian military in this conflict. This situation has been advantageous for Ukraine, which is strategically advancing eastward in this part of Kursk Oblast with the goal of encircling and neutralizing the stranded Russian forces. The encirclement tactic is a classic military strategy aimed at cutting off enemy troops from reinforcements and supply lines, forcing them into a position where they must surrender or be destroyed. Ukrainian forces have reportedly strengthened their positions along key routes, making it difficult for the Russians to receive any logistical support. Some analysts initially speculated that the Russians might still manage to defend their position, relying on the natural defenses of the riverbank and whatever fortifications they could hastily establish. However, open data analysts like Julian Rupka, a military expert with Build, have pointed out that while the western side of the so-called cauldron might be fortified, Russian forces would face significant difficulties if attacked by the Ukrainian army from the east. The terrain in this region is mostly open farmland, which offers little cover against artillery and drone strikes, both of which Ukraine has been employing effectively. Furthermore, the trapped Russian troops face a grim choice: either attempt to hold their ground against an increasingly aggressive Ukrainian assault or retreat. Both options come with high risks. Defending could lead to a prolonged siege, with dwindling supplies and increased casualties, while retreating would likely expose them to attacks and could result in a chaotic withdrawal, potentially leading to further losses. Defending their positions on the battlefield typically results in heavy casualties for Russia. This is due to the intense combat situations and the potential for high-intensity engagements. Conversely, opting to retreat presents its own set of challenges. Abandoning their vehicles and equipment leaves Russian forces exposed to Ukrainian airstrikes, artillery bombardments, and drone attacks. Ukrainian drones, in particular, have proven effective in targeting and disrupting Russian supply lines and operations. In the West, Ukraine's military made significant advances by crossing the border and seizing control of a 15-square-kilometer area near the river close to Yatruba Farm. This strategic move put Ukrainian forces in a position to threaten key Russian logistics and supply routes. In response to this aggressive maneuver, Russia began assembling new battle groups to bolster their defense and counter the Ukrainian offensive. These new formations were intended to strengthen Russia's military presence in critical areas and mitigate the impact of Ukrainian advances. The conflict was not confined to Kursk alone. Ukraine achieved notable successes with border raids in the Bryansk and Belgorod regions, further demonstrating their operational capabilities and the effectiveness of their tactical strategies. These raids were meticulously planned and executed, showcasing Ukraine's ability to penetrate deep into Russian-controlled territory and inflict significant damage. Russia's response included the creation of specialized troop groups in Belgorod, Bryansk, and Kursk, aimed at addressing the threats posed by these raids. Initially, Russian troops concentrated their efforts within Ukraine due to the high level of combat activity and the pressing need to address the immediate threats posed by Ukrainian advances. The creation of specialized military groups became crucial for the strategic defense of Ukraine's borders, leading to the establishment of the Council for Military Security of Border Territories. This council, spearheaded by Defense Minister Andrei Belov, is tasked with coordinating and overseeing the activities of these newly formed army units. The council's role is vital, given the complex and shifting nature of the conflict. President Vladimir Putin, however, was less than impressed with these developments. He has set a firm deadline for his troops. By October 1st, they must recapture Kursk and sustain their position in the strategically important regions of Donbas. Kursk, a city with historical significance dating back to the World War II Battle of Kursk, has become a focal point in the current conflict. Despite recent setbacks, Putin has ordered continued military offensives, particularly targeting the towns of Pokrovsk and Toretsk, which are crucial for maintaining Russian influence in the region. Ukraine's advance into these contested areas is part of a broader strategy to free Ukrainians who are currently held captive by Russian forces. President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed this mission, stating that the invasion of Kursk is aimed at liberating these detainees. As of August 20th, Ukrainian forces had successfully reclaimed 1,250 square kilometers of territory and 92 settlements from Russian control. This rapid progress marks a significant shift in the conflict, demonstrating Ukraine's growing operational success. Despite these achievements, the mood in Ukraine is mixed. While military successes are celebrated, there are concerns and dissatisfaction among some Ukrainians about the ongoing conflict's direction and management. Mariana Bazula, a key member of Ukraine's National Security Defense and Intelligence Committee, has voiced serious concerns about the government's approach to handling the Donetsk Oblast region. Her criticism arises as Russian forces make significant advances toward major Ukrainian cities like Pokrovsk and Toretsk. This situation has led to widespread speculation about Ukraine's strategic plans. Some experts, including writer Boris Rohn, have suggested that Ukraine might be preparing for a bold move against the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, which has been under Russian control since the early days of the conflict. While Ukraine officially denies any intentions to take over the plant, the fact that Russian troops have begun digging trenches around it suggests increased tension. In response to the Russian advance, Ukraine's military has adopted a strategy of destroying critical bridges, which has successfully cut off Russian forces from key parts of Kursk. This tactic has limited the mobility of the Russian troops and forced them into less favorable positions. Despite the challenges on the ground, Ukraine has managed to maintain a strategic edge by effectively crossing into contested areas. In the skies above Kursk, Ukraine has established control through a mix of advanced tactics. The Ukrainian Air Force has used state-of-the-art surface-to-air missiles to secure the airspace. Additionally, they have employed modified first-person view drones as aerial rams, which have been highly effective in downing several Russian helicopters since the invasion began in the region on August 6, 2024. How has a smaller nation like Ukraine managed to keep a colossal power like Russia at bay for over 2 years of intense conflict? And did Ukraine always possess such formidable firepower and resources? Recent developments offer some fascinating insights into Ukraine's military strength. For instance, a Ukrainian MiG-29 fighter jet, a Soviet-era aircraft that has been significantly upgraded, was recently captured on video using French-made A8ZM 250 Hammer precision-guided bombs. These advanced munitions are designed for pinpoint accuracy and can strike targets with minimal collateral damage, making them a critical asset in modern warfare. In addition to this, Ukrainian FPV drones, small, highly maneuverable aircraft equipped with cameras, have proven their worth on the battlefield. These drones intercepted and targeted Russian bridging units while they were still on the move, disrupting their operations and delaying their advances. Such drones have become an invaluable tool for reconnaissance and precision strikes, showcasing the evolving nature of drone warfare. Ukrainian forces have also employed American-made HIMARS rockets to devastating effect. These rockets are capable of launching multiple guided missiles in rapid succession, and in one striking instance, they scattered hundreds of grenade-sized bomblets over a Russian pontoon bridge. This technique not only caused significant damage, but also hindered Russian mobility and logistics. Moreover, Ukrainian airborne assault troops have released dramatic footage of a German-donated Marder infantry fighting vehicle from the 95th Separate Assault Brigade in action. The Marder, known for its armored protection and firepower, was filmed attacking a Russian position in the Kursk village of Malalia. This vehicle, part of Germany's support for Ukraine, highlights the extensive international collaboration in providing military aid. Where is all this sophisticated firepower coming from? Given that Ukraine's Western and EU allies cannot directly engage in the conflict, they have been playing a crucial role behind the scenes. These allies have been supplying Ukraine with a range of advanced weaponry and equipment to bolster its defense and challenge Russian advances. In addition to receiving crucial support and advanced weaponry, Ukraine is also capturing valuable equipment from the Russian forces. For instance, Ukrainian troops recently seized a Russian T-90M tank near the town of Snag, situated on the western edge of their advancing front. The T-90M is one of Russia's most formidable tanks, equipped with advanced armor and a powerful 125mm gun, making this capture particularly significant. While possessing such advanced weaponry is a major asset, the real challenge lies in using it effectively. This is where Ukraine's premier and most well-equipped unit, the 80th Air Assault Brigade, comes into play. Known for its rapid and effective strikes, the 80th Brigade is one of Ukraine's elite units, specifically trained for fast-paced and high-impact operations. On the third day of Ukraine's surprise offensive against Russia, it was confirmed that this brigade played a key role. In the days leading up to the events of August 20th, a video circulating on social media showcased an impressive array of military hardware. This footage included a T-64BV or T-80BV tank, a UR-77 mine-clearing vehicle designed to clear paths through minefields, an IMR-2 engineering vehicle used for construction and obstacle removal, and various armored personnel carriers such as the BTR-80 and the US M113 Stryker. The vehicles in the video were seen moving past a busy Ukrainian mortar crew and were notably equipped with anti-drone cages. These cages are designed to protect against small, hostile drones, which have become increasingly common in modern warfare. The 80th Air Assault Brigade's strategic use of both Marters and Strykers further enhances its operational effectiveness. Marters, known for their heavy armor and firepower, provide a robust offensive capability, while Strykers, which are highly mobile and quick, offer agility and speed. This blend of heavy firepower and rapid mobility aligns perfectly with the brigade's strategy of executing swift and impactful attacks, allowing them to outmaneuver and overpower their adversaries with precision and efficiency. The 80th Air Assault Brigade stands out among Ukrainian military units for its distinctive mix of Soviet-era and former American vehicles. This combination not only reflects the brigade's adaptability, but also its storied history of evolving tactics. A recent video from a Russian drone has spotlighted their operational impact, showcasing their strikes against outdated German Marder fighting vehicles in the Kursk Oblast. a region known for its strategic significance. The 80th Air Assault Brigade is one of Ukraine's elite units, with a reputation for precision and effectiveness. Its involvement in the operation underscores the scale and sophistication of the offensive. Since the onset of the conflict, Ukrainian forces have employed various tactics, including small, high-impact raids aimed at creating political and psychological pressure on Russian leaders. The operation was notably extensive, involving not only the 80th Air Assault Brigade, but also the 22nd and 88th Mechanized Brigades, each contributing up to 2,000 troops. These brigades are equipped with modern weaponry and have undergone rigorous training to handle complex battlefield scenarios. The Ukrainian forces' use of artillery, drones, and advanced air defense systems significantly enhanced their operational effectiveness. Artillery units provided long-range fire support, drones offered real-time reconnaissance and targeted strikes, while air defenses safeguarded against enemy aerial attacks. Success was never a sure thing for Ukraine. Despite deploying up to 10,000 troops in the invasion zone, they were confronting a daunting force of 48,000 Russian soldiers from the northern grouping. This disparity in numbers created a significant challenge, but Ukraine's strategic ingenuity has been crucial in their recent successes. The Ukrainian forces employed a calculated strategy, targeting areas where Russian defenses were notably weaker. For instance, the Ukrainian military deliberately crossed the border into zones with less robust Russian fortifications, capitalizing on the element of surprise. This approach was crucial as it allowed Ukrainian forces to penetrate deeper into contested areas with less resistance. The Ukrainian Center for Defense Strategies highlighted that the Ukrainian command's successful execution of this strategy enabled them to catch the Russian forces off guard. This move was a gamble. If the Ukrainian brigades had advanced too rapidly, they risked becoming isolated without adequate artillery support, air defenses, or supply lines. Such a scenario could have left them vulnerable and outnumbered in the hostile terrain of Kursk Oblast. To mitigate this risk, the Ukrainian military had to carefully balance their advancements to avoid overextending their reach. The potential for logistical challenges and the danger of being cut off from reinforcements made this a high-stakes operation. Nonetheless, recent events suggest that this gamble may have been worthwhile, as Ukraine has managed to make notable progress. Despite these gains, President Volodymyr Zelensky has voiced criticism of the international community. He has pointed out that global leaders seem overly preoccupied with the threats posed by Russian President Vladimir Putin, rather than fully supporting Ukraine's strategic efforts and acknowledging their achievements on the battlefield. He argued that if Ukraine's allies allowed the country to use long-range weapons inside Russia without restrictions, it could avoid the need to send troops into the Kursk region. This move would help safeguard Ukrainian citizens and prevent further Russian attacks. Despite the significant military aid Ukraine has received, including advanced weaponry and equipment, these resources come with strict conditions. One major stipulation is that Ukraine is restricted to using long-range weapons only within its own borders, not inside Russian territory. This limitation is designed to avoid escalating the conflict to a full-scale war. If Ukraine were granted the freedom to use these weapons inside Russia, it could dramatically alter the conflict's dynamics. This is a significant concern for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is wary of provoking a larger international confrontation. Interestingly, the geopolitical landscape might be shifting soon, not necessarily due to Ukraine, but due to actions by other European countries. At NATO's 75th anniversary summit, held in July 2024 in Vilnius, it was announced that the U.S. will begin deploying long-range missiles in Germany for the first time since the Cold War. This development is noteworthy because it marks a reversal of the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty of 1988, which had prohibited such deployments. The Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty was a landmark arms control agreement signed at the end of the Cold War in 1987. It was negotiated between the United States and the Soviet Union and aimed to eliminate ground-launched missiles with ranges between 500 and 5,500 kilometers. This treaty was significant because it marked the first time the superpowers agreed to eliminate an entire class of nuclear weapons, thereby reducing the risk of a nuclear confrontation in Europe. In an ideal world, the countries involved would have fully adhered to their treaty obligations, fostering greater global security. However, in the complex arena of international relations, such ideals are often challenged. Russian President Vladimir Putin, who assumed office after the treaty was signed, found the INF Treaty increasingly restrictive. In 2014, the U.S. accused Russia of violating the treaty by developing and testing a new type of nuclear-capable cruise missile known as the 9M729, which was believed to breach the treaty's limits. This development sparked a major diplomatic dispute, with the U.S. asserting that Russia's actions undermined the treaty's purpose and security in Europe. As a result, in 2019, the U.S. formally withdrew from the INF Treaty, citing Russia's non-compliance. Following this, Russia also exited the treaty, leading to a significant shift in the arms control landscape. Without the INF Treaty, there are no longer formal constraints on deploying intermediate-range missiles, which has led to a new phase in military strategy and international tension. With the INF Treaty dismantled, the U.S. is now free to consider deploying long-range missiles in Europe, including Germany. These would potentially include Tomahawk cruise missiles, known for their precision and long range, SM-6 missiles, which are versatile and capable of engaging various threats, and hypersonic missiles, which travel at speeds greater than Mach 5 and can evade current defense systems. The introduction of these advanced weapons into Germany has sparked controversy. German politicians, particularly those from the Green Party, have expressed strong concerns about hosting U.S. missiles on German soil. The U.S. and Germany have underscored that the deployment of these missiles represents just the initial phase of a broader strategy to bolster NATO and Europe's integrated defense capabilities. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius elaborated at the NATO summit in Washington that the ultimate goal is to drive Germany and other European nations to invest in developing and acquiring their own advanced long-range missiles. This temporary deployment provides NATO allies with crucial time to adapt to this evolving defense strategy. At the summit, Pistorius, along with defense ministers from France, Italy, and Poland, signed a landmark agreement to advance the development of long-range missiles within Europe. This European initiative, known as the European Long-Range Strike Program, is designed to enhance Europe's missile capabilities and ensure the continent's defense infrastructure is state-of-the-art. One of the key assets in this strategy is the Tomahawk cruise missile, renowned for its remarkable capabilities. First introduced in the 1980s, the Tomahawk boasts an impressive range of over 1,000 miles and can be redirected mid-flight, allowing for precise strikes on moving or stationary targets. The latest iteration, the Tomahawk Block 4, further enhances its performance with an extended range of 1,350 miles and a 1,000-pound high-explosive warhead. This advanced version also incorporates enhanced navigation and targeting systems, including GPS and updated radar, making it one of the most versatile and effective missiles in modern arsenals. The SM-6 missile, originally designed for air defense, boasts a range of 287 miles and speeds up to Mach 3.5. This rapid speed makes it highly effective for striking time-sensitive targets. To put its speed into perspective, the SM-6 travels up to 4 times faster than the Tomahawk missile. Both the SM-6 and Tomahawk are deployed using the Advanced Typhoon Transporter Erector Launcher System. This system is outfitted with 4 Mk-41 vertical launch systems, which are standard on US, Japanese, and NATO warships. Each Mk-41 can accommodate a single missile, offering versatile launch capabilities. However, the SM-6 and Tomahawk are outclassed by the LRHW, a missile famously referred to as the super-duper missile by former President Trump. The LRHW is a cutting-edge hypersonic weapon that can achieve speeds of up to Mach 17, about 13,000 miles per hour. This incredible velocity allows it to strike targets as far as 1,700 miles away with extraordinary precision. Unlike traditional missiles, the LRHW employs a 2-stage approach. It first accelerates into the upper atmosphere, then deploys a hypersonic glide body. This glide body is an aerodynamic projectile equipped with advanced guidance systems and a high-explosive warhead, ensuring highly accurate impacts even at extreme distances. The glide body, after releasing from its launch vehicle, straightens out and glides smoothly back to Earth. During its descent, it performs high-speed evasive maneuvers to avoid being intercepted. This advanced technology, known as long-range hypersonic weapon, came into existence only because the United States withdrew from an important treaty. If the U.S. had remained part of the treaty, developing such a weapon would have been impossible. The treaty had strict rules that prevented both the U.S. and Russia from creating these kinds of advanced weapons. Despite Russia's denials, the U.S. government claims to have received intelligence suggesting that Russia was testing a new cruise missile with a range of 1,500 miles. This, according to the U.S., was a clear violation of the treaty. When confronted, Russia denied these allegations. In response, the U.S. sought support from NATO, and once it had enough backing, it decided to withdraw from the treaty. This move allowed the U.S. to start developing its own advanced weapon systems to counter Russia's capabilities. The result of this effort is the LRHW, a sophisticated long-range hypersonic weapon designed to maintain a strategic advantage. How does Russia view these developments? Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister, Sergei Ryabkov, has issued a stern warning, stating that they will respond militarily to this new threat posed by the LRHW. Russian officials have been outspoken recently, accusing NATO and the United States of increasing tensions and attempting to intimidate Russia. One notable figure, Dmitry Peskov, described the situation as a grave threat and pledged that Russia would respond with careful, coordinated, and effective measures to counter NATO's actions. It's clear that Russia is dissatisfied with the current situation. However, the United States argues that they are not at fault. U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan firmly defended their stance, stating that their deployment of defensive capabilities to Germany is consistent with many similar measures taken over the decades to protect the alliance. He emphasized that Russia's threats will not deter the U.S. from maintaining the alliance's strength. Additionally, President Putin has reportedly given his military until the end of September to address the situation with Ukraine and regain control of the area. Although this is a significant challenge, Putin's subordinates are well aware of the importance of meeting his expectations and avoiding failure. Thank you for watching another episode on our channel. While you are still here, click the video on your screen to see more mind-blowing videos like this one.